This is how you draw eyes, but you want to improve your drawings. I've got you covered. Hello guys, today I'm here with a different tutorials. It's called do's and don't tutorials. This is the first time I'm doing this kind of tutorials. I'm LOGOO. Let's jump right in. So these are the tools we are going to use. A graphite pencil for the sketch, a charcoal pencil, brushes, Tombow eraser, and a Nataraj eraser. It's a very cheap eraser and a lot of you will probably have it around your house. Let's start with the don'ts. So the first thing I'm going to do is to sketch the eyes. The mistakes I see beginners make often is to try sketching offhand, which they end up making series of mistakes and at the end doesn't make their drawing look realistic. So it's really important to look at a reference photo to draw. Even if you have to take a picture of your own eyes or your friend's eyes, it's very important that you work from life because it also helps to train your brain to overcome some mistakes as a beginner. Another mistake beginners make during the sketch is using very harsh lines, which end up making it very difficult for the graphite to receive the charcoal. And also sometimes it also makes the drawing look unrealistic. So make sure your sketch are light enough to make the shading look more easier. Another mistake I see people make when drawing the iris is to just draw an oval in the middle without the top eyelid covering part of the iris. It's very wrong. Now we are done with the sketch. Let's start with the shading. Now I'm shading the upper eyelid with the charcoal, and since our sketch is too harsh, it will be very difficult for the graphite to receive the charcoal and can also cause a lot of reflection in the work. Another common mistake I see beginners make when drawing eyes with charcoal is using the charcoal on the lower eyelid, which is very wrong, and also making the line under the lower eyelid too sharp. And with the eyelashes, just doing the strokes anyhow, not being more intentional. There are specific way of drawing the eyelashes. They are a bit curved depending on their position, so pay more attention to that. Another mistake I see beginners make is to shade the entire iris black, leaving the pupil of the eye, which is wrong and doesn't make it look realistic. Now, instead of the pupil being the darkest part of the eye, they rather create a reflection instead, which doesn't make the eye look realistic. Now, Moving to the eyebrow, you see beginners often creating the eyebrow in only one direction and also not doing it in layers, which doesn't really make it look realistic. There are 3 portions of the eyebrows and each has specific way of drawing them. I will show you that in the do stage. Another common mistake beginners make is drawing the lower eyelashes on the line close to the eyeball instead of the lower part of the waterline on the eye. So now that's for don'ts. Let's move on to the do's. Let's put down our sketch. To get the sketch right without any mistake, let's use this measurement. First, draw your vertical and horizontal line like this, and draw a circle which is going to be your iris of the eye, and make a smaller one within as the pupil of the eye. Now draw a curved line as the upper eyelid and let it pass through the bigger circle, and draw the lower eyelid and also let it pass through the circle. Now, draw the lower part of the waterline, which we will be drawing the lower eyelashes on. If this is too complicated, you can use this method. Draw a horizontal line and draw 3 lines at the top as the upper eyelid, and draw 2 at the lower part and form it. It's very simple. So now let's come back to our original sketch. The first thing I will do is to use the eraser to lift out some of the graphite from the paper. Like I said earlier, in realism, we don't need any harsh lines. So I erase it so that I can still see the lines, but not too harsh. Now, another reason for doing this is, since I will be using charcoal on top of the graphite, I need to erase it a bit in order for the graphite to receive the charcoal. You can also use tissue paper to blend it to reduce the intensity of the graphite. This can also serve as your first layer. Now, we can go ahead and use the charcoal on it. Use it only at the upper part of the eye. Don't do it at the lower part. It wouldn't look realistic. Outline the iris with the charcoal and shade the pupil, which is the darkest part of the eye, and create the reflection in the iris. Now shade the iris, but not entirely. Let the lower part of the iris receive some reflection to look more realistic. Now start blending it with a brush and be careful of the highlights. Now, eyelashes are done in a specific direction. You can't just do them anyhow. So I will recommend you use this technique to draw them. But I still think you need to watch your reference photo. You can also share your drawings with me in my Facebook group for any advice. All you need to do is to tag LOGOO Art Class in any of your posts. We will also share the link in the description of this video. And with the lower part, I'm not going to do the eyelashes on the line closer to the iris. This is where it's actually done, and anywhere else won't make the drawing look realistic. Now let's move to the eyebrows. I mentioned earlier that there are various portions of the eyebrows if studied carefully. This part of the eyebrow, the hairs goes this way. Follow the direction of the arrow I'm making. The middle section also has its own direction, this way. And the last part of the eyebrow also goes in this direction. Knowing this as an artist will always make your drawings look more realistic. Let's draw the eyebrows itself, following the direction of the arrows. Try as much as possible to do it in layers. And let's blend it with the hard brush. Now, if you look closely to every eyebrows, you would realize there are certain amount of reflection or highlight on it. So let's bring that using the Tombow eraser. Let's add more reflection to the eye to look more realistic. If you really want to do a realistic drawing, you need to look at a reference photo, because you can't just imagine where these things are, because in realism, it's really important that you use a reference photo. If you like this video, please hit the red subscribe button on your right for more tips in art, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you.